Yeah, we are back and we are live.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah,
We took a week off.
that 2.5 minute intro ended up being a 5 minute intro because for some reason it didn't want to stop looping the intro. So that's all right. It took us off mute, but it kept playing the intro and it wouldn't put our camera up. But we could have been talking over the anyway. We got
Well,
it
that's
now.
because,
Let's go.
and I think I know why that is. Is because that beat is so fire, produced
Yes.
by my homeboy. I call him my Filipino DJ Premier. Okay,
Yes.
he's out here in Hawaii. Eli Music. He used to go by. They used to go by Thirst for Worse Productions. Shout out to him for the beat. Thank you, my
No,
brother.
was
Okay.
not technical difficulties at all. The beat just needed to keep rolling.
Yeah,
StreamYard, you know what I'm saying? All the platforms, they were like, "No, keep the beat
yeah,
rolling." And we were like, "Okay, we gonna keep
exactly.
the beat rolling." We
Hell
were on
yeah.
the ice.
You know everything happens for a reason.
Let's go. All right, man. How are you, sir? How are you today?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. I'm blessed. I'm stressed, but I'm blessed. What about you?
Uh, there's no need for you to be stressed. Just be happy. You got it
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
of course.
Got it going
Happy
on.
happiness doesn't come with the absence of stress. Never let one fool you.
Stress is an illusion, man. Stress is an illusion. Bam! That's why stress is an illusion. Let's go.
Oh, word.
Congratulations, man.
Hey. Yeah, man. 3 years today. When we drop this episode, it'll be 2 extra days on top of the 3. But yes, today is a 3rd-year anniversary. What do we got here, Mike, on that screen? It looks like me.
It is you. It is you and all of the information about your journey. So, dude, tell me, like, what made you make the, like, a lot of people don't have, like, a day where they're like, oh, I made the decision today to do it. I like that. A lot of people don't do that. Oh, it's because I just saw it. They don't go, hey, man, I remember the day I started or whatever. But, like, so for you, what was, like, the catalyst? You know what I mean? Like, what was the thing and how are you able to quantify it, you know, by the day? Does that make sense what I'm asking there?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are a couple of reasons, right? It wasn't one in particular. I didn't choose that day for any specific reason. It just happened to be one of the days that I was sitting there. I was working from home at that time, had a side hustle going on in some management for this IT situation, right? So anyways, the pandemic created a lot of work from home gigs. Real easy to get that extra money. My girl's at work, I'm at home, and I just realized that I'm feeling like absolute ish. Okay. And it's been bothering me. I looked in the mirror. I've been looking in the mirror for years leading up to that day, right?
Right.
And it was bothering me. I started having these issues that I wasn't having before. I was always unhealthy. Okay. I used to drink a lot, but it's an old thing now. I've been sober off of alcohol for almost 11 and a half years. Um,
And I'm glad you mentioned that, not to stray, but to kind of maybe if that's something a lot of folks, be it, somebody who actually this year or this month makes 8 years no alcohol sober for me as well. Let's go, fellas.
oh, fire.
Um,
Okay, so you got 8 years.
but
I got 11 and a half going on to 12. That's awesome, bro.
heck yeah, man. But I will say it's something that I'm sure you've seen in the community too. A lot of cats stop drinking, you blow up. You know what I mean? Because you replace that. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not drinking alcohol, but I can eat all the M&Ms. I can eat all the Snickers or whatever the case, or chips. Like for me, I love chips and salsa. You fool yourself into thinking it's not that bad. You're like, well, it's not sugar. It's salsa, so it's all natural vegetables and chips. But just too much calories sitting around is too much calories. That's life, right?
Yeah.
But I notice a lot of us cats who go on the sober journey end up gaining weight. And I mean, it just gotta happen.
Mhm.
So, just that in mind as we keep rolling. sobriety
Yep.
far longer than the weight loss journey. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
you were sitting there, you were feeling like ish. You knew drinking and alcohol wasn't really the thing, but you knew you weren't living the lifestyle you could.
Right. There was something going on, and I'm like, yo, why? Well, maybe it's because I didn't even know how much I was at the time. I didn't have a scale, right? So I picked up the scale, and I was like just a couple of pounds over 270. On top of that, my dad had a heart attack in 2021. The first thing he told me was, the doctor was like, yo, this is in your family. Tell your kids, get right. That resonated with me. It took me years. But ever since then, I had that desire to change, right? So, anyways, fast forward 2023, a couple of years later. We also, WWE also helped me change my life. And I think I told you this, maybe not. Um, so I got into wrestling as a child.
By
My
the way,
dad and
this
I, that
story
was my,
remind me to tell you about WWE. I watched WrestleMania. I even
gotcha. Yeah.
streamed the first night on our show. So or on
Oh,
the
did
channel.
you?
So if you wanted to watch the
Yeah.
first night, I have it's kind of like it says, what does it say? PT Podmania Wrestling, because I can't just label it WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I don't want to lose
yeah.
our channel. But if you go follow us on our Rumble channel, you can watch the entire first night
Awesome.
for absolute free on our channel. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Word, that's fire. The first night, second night, yeah. Anyways, what had happened was that was like I used to watch wrestling as a child with my father, with my dad. And that's one of my most fond memories of me and my dad. Of course, you get older, you lose interest, you grow out of it. About was it 4 years ago when the Vince McMahon scandals started popping up? I started seeing that in my news feed, and it got me right back into it. I started watching the product again. Hey, even if it's negative publicity, sometimes it can bring people back to, or new eyes to the product, right? You know how it works. Anyways, I started watching wrestling again. So my ex, girlfriend at the time, she was like, what are you watching? And I'm like, you know what I'm watching. You've seen this before. She's like, I know, I hate it. But she used to sit with me because I had to sit through everything that she would watch. Okay. And this is my one thing. So as I'm watching this with her, I'm realizing something. She's kind of gawking at some wrestlers more than others, right? She's like, and then she's like, listen, it's the arms for me. And she specifically mentioned Drew McIntyre. Hey, I'm a big fan of Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Warrior. That guy is the epitome of what a solid man should look like, right? Whatever, chisel 275, all of that, right? 6'5". I get it. So I was like, okay. So I'm watching her watch Seth Rollins and yada yada. My favorite, Roman Reigns. Long story short, I was like, a few weeks later, I told her, listen, one of these days I'm gonna look like one of them dudes. She started laughing. I said, okay, I got you. And then April 25th came around. I got off of work, which was really at home, logged out of my computer, and I got on this little machine called the Gazelle, which she had got, but never used it. I got on the Gazelle. I did 15 minutes of it. I have asthma, so I was winded. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna stick to it. So I stuck to it for a week. And what I noticed is I wanted to keep going and I wanted to keep doing more than I was doing that week. So then I increased the next week. So I started with a lot of cardio at first, right? And then I incorporated push-ups, um, a little bit of weights here and there. It just progressed. And that's that. And today, 3 years later, I can honestly say that there isn't one day in my life where I don't exercise, move. Um, I do cardio 7 days a week. 7 days a week. Um, 5 days a week, I'm doing weights. Okay. So that's my lifestyle now. Fast forward from then to now, right now, I'm a cold little 151, 152 ish. I'm actually trying to gain more. Problem is, I keep doing all this cardio. Like I'm so used to it. It's part of my life now that kind of kills my gains. I know I'm doing that to myself. It's okay. I'll get there. I'll be all right. I'll limit it. But yeah, that's how I got here, bro. That's how I got started. So it was a combination of things. It was
Heck
my
yeah.
dad's heart attack, WWE, and just the will to not want to look the way I was. And don't get me wrong, even today, just before this show, I was reminded by a very beautiful woman that you looked great even back then. In fact, I kind of liked that guy more. I said, you know what? I got a lot more attention when I was that than I do right now. But that's because I'm not out and about in the public no more all the time. I'm not all up in the parties. I'm not all up in the clubs, the concerts, doing promotions. I'm working on myself. And now I'm working on a higher level. Okay.
Absolutely.
The moves that are being made now are totally different. But you're gonna see me outside, period. So it was never about that. It was about me, my self-image, my like, the beauty was all around and it's still all around. In fact, the level of beauty now, I love it even more. So I'm gonna stay this beautiful too, baby. There's nothing that feels better than feeling good about yourself.
There is nothing better than feeling better. Let's go. I love that, man. Also, you realize you need to look like a WWE guy. You need a lot of steroids, mainly tests, maybe some trend. But to be healthy and just to look good, it's just about discipline, focus, consistency, and that's the key, man. That is
I'm
really what it
working.
is
I'm
all
working on
about.
my. I'm working on my little guns. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on my little guns.
I mean,
It's all good.
I got nothing against testosterone. I think it is lovely. I encourage people to do tests if they feel like it's gonna help them. You know what I mean? I encourage it. If the doctor
Hey, you
tells
can.
you testosterone is good for you, I encourage you. And in fact, if you're a dude over 35 and you possibly may think testosterone could help you, go to your doctor, get tested. Seriously. So absolutely. I highly recommend.
Yeah. I have a natural, testosterone level. I think is pretty decent. So I don't. I'm not on anything. Not. I'm all natural. The T in T-qron does not stand for testosterone.
Right. The problem is when
But yeah, man.
you not well,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
But I
could
know
be
what you mean, brother.
high
I could.
estrogen on all that, cardio and white meat, lack of red meat, and heavy lifting. But hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? I don't
I
want to.
prefer the natural way. I'm not gonna
I,
lie. I prefer the natural way.
I'm with it.
So that's
I
just me. Yeah.
no, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. But sometimes certain bodies don't do it. You know what I mean? And
You're
then they
right.
can get
You're right. 100%.
here, and then
And
they can
before you
get
ever take anything, go and check with your doctor. Yeah.
right. Oh, absolutely. And then in addition to that, there are so many good things you can do naturally from the heavy lifting and lots of red meat. It's funny that one of the best possible things you can do for testosterone is just eat steak. Just eat lots of red meat. In the same way that one of the absolute best ways to increase your omega 3s, other than just eating straight omega 3 pills, is by eating lots of fish. If you eat lots of fish, naturally your omega 3s will go up and it's absorbed differently into your body, so you get more of it because it's absorbed through proteins more so when it's
Yep.
connected, when those omega 3s are connected to protein
Yep.
molecules, if you will. Right. So, testosterone with red meat, omega 3s with fish, because it's bound to the protein and your body absorbs that protein more. It does better for your body, like, per milligram that you ingest. So, absolutely, man. That's why we got to eat so
Yeah.
much protein powder. You know what I mean? And you
Me,
can only
me
eat so much
personally
steak,
though,
unfortunately. But yeah,
you're right about the protein aspect. Me personally though, my choice of protein, like I told you many times, is white meat, is chicken. You know what I mean?
oh, absolutely,
Basically,
and it's good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I'll have steak like every so often. I just try to stay away from the red meat, me personally, because that's kind of what my dad told me as soon as the heart attack happened. He said, "Hey, talk to your children, let them know because it runs in the family. You all might want to limit that red meat." So now, in my head, when I think red blood, like medium rare or whatever steak, like it just associates that with a heart attack for me, and it just tells me stay away. But chicken, fish, all the time. Steak every so often for me. But I know religiously some people eat steak every day almost.
You might
know what
want to
I'm
get
saying?
your
And that,
T
do
levels
what you
checked.
do.
I'm just saying. You might want to get your T
Yeah,
levels checked. I'm just
I'm
saying.
fine. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. You see me.
I'm, yeah, no, I see you, dog. You know what I mean? I'm not saying. I'm just, hey, dog. I want you to do
You
the
see
same
me.
for you. Yeah, man. Okay, so, and you know what I have to do? To be fair, I need to watch night 2. I didn't really watch night 2 because,
Oh,
but man, I think it's overall. I'm just not a W. I think because I watch too much real fighting, and you know the legit drama that goes into that, and even the fun real fighting, right? Like your card jitsu, which is actually huge in the Middle East. You know what I mean? Or your tire wars, your slap fighting, but all real. You know what I mean? Dudes really get real concussions and really go to hospitals, everything. But you know that, and of course your MMA, your boxing, your kickboxing, that kind of thing. But man, I was watching it. I was just like, oh, I was like, these stars don't need the backstories are just too much for me, dog. They're just, you know what I mean? And it's like
now,
this girl has these children, but their favorite wrestler is the girl she's going against right now. I'm like, first of all, even if that were true, which it's like country music to me, it's insulting to my intelligence, which is why I don't like it. How are people like, you're in Texas and Oklahoma and how do you
listen.
not like
Oh my
country
God.
music? And I was like, because it's insulting to my intelligence, because it's cold beer and my dog and a truck and my gun and a gun and a truck, cold beer and my dog,
I
a woman
heard,
and my land and
yo,
my lake and country and dog and beer and trucks and guns. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, just make good music. Make good
the
music. That's
I
why
heard
people
the
love Johnny Cash.
nastiest.
But let me hear. That's why people love
Oh
Johnny
my God.
Cash, because he didn't just do what everybody else was doing. He broke a mold with it. You know what I mean? He went deeper with it. He knew how to have fun with it. Honestly, people are going to hate. But that's why people love Kid Rock too, because he took a genre and stretched it. I know people hate both of them, but people hate everybody.
Oh my
You name
God.
whoever you love, somebody's going to hate him. You know what I mean? Including MC Hammer. You know what I mean? So I heard MC Hammer the other day on the radio. I was like, I have to tell T-qron on the show. I heard MC Hammer the other day. So,
You know what's so funny? Just earlier, as I was scrolling through Instagram when you started singing that country song. There's this female artist named Dakota something. She just came up in my feed. The nastiest country song you've ever heard coming from a woman. But man, it sounded
really?
really amazing. Okay, vulgar is all hell. Okay, so you got to be 18 and up to listen to that one. But what? Country's on a whole different algorithm at this point. I love it.
I will
Anyway,
say,
sorry.
there's a song, what is it? I was drunk the day my mama got out of prison, and I went to pick her up in the rain. I forgot the name of the song. There's one like kind of comedy country song that makes fun of comedy You know, it's like I wanted to write
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
country song, and like
Like a parody of yeah.
yeah.
But it was
I don't
actually
even know the
good.
name
Right.
of it, but I remember I just heard it, right? Like it was one of those. I was like at a country bar, and everybody sang, and I was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, this is the song." It's like clearly I
Right.
don't listen to much country, but everybody in the whole bar just started singing. It was like, "And I went to pick her up in the rain." I was like, "Okay, rock on." So, and you don't have to call me darling, darling. Have you heard that? You know what I'm talking about? No.
No, I haven't, but it sounds hilarious. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
Okay,
anyway,
so now let me address the whole WWE thing, okay? It sucks that you ended up watching that as one of like the first WrestleManias in a long time, because that was that was the worst ever WrestleMania night. And they just started doing this a few years ago, from what I understand. Okay, when I started watching this, they were doing it already. 2 nights. It wasn't a thing before. It was only one night. One night. That's all you need. You don't need 2 nights, bro. It's a Super Bowl. Super Bowl doesn't get played over 2 nights. Why y'all doing it over 2 nights? It's a money grab. Okay. Especially with the TKO group. The TKO group owns UFC and they own a lot of other things. Okay.
and
The Sphere in Las
WWE, and
Vegas.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's a money grab by TKO. They're bastardizing the product. I'm sorry if any of you wrestling fans out there, and I'm going to start my wrestling podcast soon too. So I'm glad that we're talking about this. Okay. All right. So,
Yeah, thanks for talking
sorry
to
if
me
you
about
guys are
that, bro.
offended.
That's awesome.
I'm, I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
I've been
That's not
trying to get
any
you to
news.
do it. I've been like, man, let me know when you're ready. We talk about it.
I
Set it
got you.
up.
I got you. I got you. It's all, it all happens in here before it happens out of here. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm more, you know. But
I did a
anyways,
little
back to what
research,
I
so
was saying.
please continue. Yes, yes, yes.
So back to what I was saying was the product sucks right now because of how TKO's is involved. The storylines suck. The bookings suck for the most part. Okay, this isn't the time to come in as a new fan or a casual fan and watch, because that was a horrible representation of what it can actually be. It's very magical if done right. Okay, now the second night they've absolutely redeemed themselves, and you must go back and watch that if you can. Um, because yeah, they did it up right. Okay. And I don't know if you saw what happened on the first night to Cody Rhodes. Did you see how he got his face was just
Busted
demolished?
up. Yeah, yeah.
Dusted up, right. Now, they say it's from that punt kick, right? That's the illusion. But really where it was from was that RKO when Randy hit it from the top. Cody came from the top and Randy, they collided heads. Their heads collided. That's really where he got busted open. The kick, yes, while brutal, it wasn't the reason why. But do you see how they did it up? So to anybody that says it's fake, it's scripted. Yes. The
And I think
outcomes
that's
are
like,
determined.
and that's the storyline. Like, Randy, what happened? You were good, and now you've turned bad again. And then at the end, he's doing the blood on his forehead in the crowd. Oh, I said, "Stop it, bro! Stop it!" Like, I would prefer. Like, at least I respected the John Cena. Like, you know what I mean? I've been in this a long time, and this is my retirement run. You know what I mean? And we're
Mm,
kind of dropping a little bit of the kayfabe. I'm going to go out there and put
mm,
on the best wrestling performances I can, and
right.
help put some people over. But it's John Cena, so at the end he has to do his, just he was like, nobody's more important than me. Even though I'm leaving, I've got to leave with all the attention. So anyway, I was that was a couple years ago. But what I
Yeah.
heard was they didn't really give the first night a bunch of attention as far as planning and setup because the names, and there were lesser names on the second night, but they put more into the production and the show. And everybody told me, they were like, no, man. They were like, they honestly just relied on name, talent, and draw for the first night. Other than that first match, like the first free match that was on like ESPN with Logan Paul, and there was that black dude, and he jumped from the
I
ropes
show
to the
speed.
table. Yeah, I should.
Yeah, I
No,
show
that was I
speed.
Show Speed.
Mhm.
Oh man, I didn't realize that was I Show Speed. Who's not even a wrestler. See, I hate that.
But
That
look at
gets
how good he was. Now, I'm not with that whole jelly roll and I show speed and little Yachty and all these miscellaneous people being in the WWE, right, for
that.
no
Hey,
reason.
this is how I feel
But
about
I show
podcasters.
speed is actually dope.
How
Yeah,
I feel about podcasters in the WWE.
fair enough, right? Yeah, there's a lot.
I don't even want podcasters podcasting. I damn sure don't want them in the WWE, and I am one. Okay, that's
Right,
why I can say it.
right.
I know what
And now
scum we are.
Cameron's about to get involved. Cameron's about to get involved in the Jey Uso and Roman Reigns situation.
But
Like
he's a
what?
musician, though. Musicians have always had a
Yeah,
deep history with W. I love it when
yeah,
musicians
yeah.
get involved, and comedians too, because comedians
So
are
you think that
just
would
so
be good?
happy to be there. Yeah, I think Cameron would stream.
Dipset, yeah.
Although here's the deal, I didn't realize that was I Show Speed, and I thought it was a real WWE wrestler, and he
Mm-mm.
put on a great performance to me. Like that was impressive.
Exactly.
I was like,
That boy
dang,
can wrestle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That boy's made
Well,
for it. He's
and
like a Logan Paul almost. Not
and the
almost. I'm saying that level, like he could be.
the little things, like if you watch his jump, he did a really good job of protecting Logan. Like most people don't know that when you're doing pro wrestling and you do a crazy move, most of the time you're hurting yourself worse than the guy
He
you're
hurt
doing
himself
the
more
move
than
on. The whole thing is,
exactly.
it's the whole thing. There's a saying, taking care of the other guy in the ring. Like, I'm gonna take care of you, man. Like, and there's a lot of people like Big Sexy Kevin Nash, piece of crap history of hurting other wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like that, he was history of being not good at protecting the other wrestler and just dropping them on their head. Rock has a great history of taking care of other wrestlers. That's why him and Cena would work together, because they had a good thing of, and actually, believe it or not, Stone Cold and Triple H as well. those guys all took care of their other wrestlers. Like we both want to do this for
Good.
20
Yeah.
years, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, for Speed to do what he did, if you look at like the jump and how he did it and how he protected the other dude and took basically most of the hit is on his knees and elbows, which hurts,
Oh,
right?
his ribs even. His
Yeah.
ribs even. Ooh. Oh my God. Yeah.
So
Shout
that
out
was
to
like
him.
impressive. I was
That
like,
was
that is a good move. So anyway, I'll break it down
that
on
was
the
good.
technical level because I got friends that do it. So I'm more into it on that level. But yeah, man, I was like, I just thought the storylines could be better. But I thought
Absolutely.
most of the wrestling
100%.
sorry. But I wanted to. I know you're
Yeah.
talking about doing wrestling stuff. Wanted to open with a little bit of that info, a little bit of that info, and then of course today's a special day for you, man, and that is what it's all about. But it's also a special day here. Why? Why do you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a special day because we have Mr. Money himself, Stock Curry, right? With we profit with Stock Curry. And he's telling us how he made 94% return in 1 year using Warren Buffett's method, something that T-qron also subscribes to a lot of the time. Maybe not 100, but I'd say a good 85
Not 100.
to 90% of the time. You're like, sound advice. So,
Because he hates crypto. Remember that. He hates crypto.
yeah. Well,
So,
Yeah, that's why we got our other guys. You know what I mean? We're a balanced show, right? Well,
Right.
check this out. We're going to get into it a little bit, but this is important, I think. So let's check it out.
You sell a stock, it immediately turns around and starts rallying again. Maybe you feel like I used to feel, that if I just did the opposite of what I was currently doing, I'd make a lot more money. And it turns out that's not just a feeling, it's reality. Most people could actually make a lot more money by doing the opposite of what they're currently doing. There's a famous book by Tom Hogarth called Best Loser Wins, with a subtitle of Why Normal Thinking Never Wins the Trading Game. And in this book, Tom explains how he watched thousands and thousands of traders lose money in the stock market. And he also watched a handful of traders make outsized returns. And what Tom realized is that people generally pick the direction of a stock correctly about 60% of the time. About 60% of the time when somebody buys a stock and they think it's going to go up, the stock actually goes up. But where people make a mistake is they tend to hold their winning trades far too short of a period of time. They get fearful that they're going to lose money on the trade and they want to lock in profits. And so they very quickly sell in order to lock in those profits. And when the stocks go down, people tend to hold those stocks for a very long period of time because they're waiting for the stock to turn around and start going back up. And what Tom realized is most people end up shooting themselves in the foot because they hold their winners for far too short of a period and they hold their losers for far too long. And what Tom realized is that if people would do the opposite of that, if they would hold their winners for a long period of time and sell their losers quickly, they would actually make a lot more money. And Tom Hogarth isn't the first person to realize that most people would make a lot more money by doing the opposite of what everybody else does. One of Warren Buffett's most famous quotes is to be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. What Warren Buffett, John Templeton, Tom Hogarth, and myself have all realized is that if you do the opposite of what most people do, you tend to make a lot more money in the stock market, and you usually outperform most other people in the stock market. In some cases, you can even double the average returns of the S&P 500. And the results speak for themselves. From 1957 to 1969, during Warren Buffett's first 12 years investing in the stock market, he achieved an average return of 29.5% with a cumulative return of 2,794%. That is like putting $100,000 into the stock market and 12 years later having nearly $3 million in your account. Now, I don't know about you.
Where else can
but
you
I
do
would
that?
love to turn
Wait. We got to hear that again. Listen to that.
Where else can you do that?
of the S&P
Oh my God.
500. And the results speak for themselves. From 1957 to 1969, during Warren Buffett's first 12 years investing in the stock market, he achieved an average return of 29.5%, with a cumulative return of 2,794%. That is like putting $100,000 into the stock market and 12 years later having nearly $3 million in your account. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to turn $100,000 into $3 million in 12 years.
Let's go.
And Warren Buffett continued his success since then, with Berkshire Hathaway achieving a compound annual return of 19.4% per year. That is nearly double what the S&P 500 returns. The S&P 500's average annual return has been about 10% since its launch in 1957. And as of December 2025, the average annual return stands at 11.5% for the past 40 years. And using Warren Buffett's investing strategy, I nearly doubled my portfolio over the past 12 months. From April 17th, 2025 to April 20th, 2026, during the last 12 months.
Now, guys, remember the important thing here is this is now. This is now. This isn't. And I will say, man, maybe it's because I'm paying more attention, but in my opinion, from my standpoint, this has been one of the craziest times in, I'd say, the last 10 years for the market, right? It just has, from the instability of cryptocurrencies to the explosion of precious metals, all of these things that, we've never really seen before. I just think it's been a crazy time. And the fact that my man almost doubled in that time is very interesting. And something I think it's important to keep in mind you can all do, no matter what. They're screaming on the news, you can't do this, you can't do that, it's impossible, blah, blah, blah. You actually can. There are opportunities. You're living proof. I'm proof. You can make money in a down economy, if you will, and a really unstable market.
Yeah, I'm up 40% on the year. S&P's only up 3%. What you mean a rapper outperforming the markets?
Past 12 months. From April 17th, 2025 to April 20th, 2026, during the last 12 months, I achieved a 94% rate of return in my portfolio. I'm going to show you step by step exactly how I did it. What's incredible about this strategy is that it's an incredibly simple strategy, and yet it's extremely difficult to execute. If you are risk adverse, you're going to find this strategy to be incredibly scary. You've probably been told to lower risk by diversifying across a large number of stocks. The easiest way to do that is to buy the top 500 stocks in the stock market through the S&P 500. And you do that by buying an S&P 500 ETF, such as SPY. And this works great so long as you're happy with achieving 10 to 11% returns every single year. And honestly, for most people, just buying SPY is probably the best thing to do. It's incredibly simple. You don't need to know anything about the stock market.
Go ahead. What are you saying, brother? I'm going to let you say it and get to his next point. Go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with it. I'm just agreeing with it. That's all.
Absolutely. Here we go. I wanted that strategy. I had it queued up. I looked it over. There we go. This is Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, cash pile.
Right now, Berkshire Hathaway has a huge cash pile. For years, they've been sitting on a huge amount of cash. But they're not just letting that cash sit idle. They're earning interest on it. Berkshire Hathaway reported $8 billion in interest during the first 9 months of 2000.
How would you like to have so much money that you make $8 billion a year just for having that money, dude?
Man,
that is nice, bro. That's a nice way to live. Am I wrong or am I right?
oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
And then how much did you make?
Yeah.
8 billion. What did you do? Nothing. What do you mean? Yeah, no, I just have a lot of money, so I get a lot of money. You know?
Yep. And that's why they say the first 100,000 is the hardest to make, because then when you have that kind of money, if you're smart enough, it just keeps adding up if you do the right thing.
Absolutely.
24
It just keeps
alone.
growing.
And it's all about the game, right? Knowing it drives me crazy when you talk to people and and they just don't know the game. They just don't understand it. And the problem is they think you're crazy, right? Like they think you're nuts. Like something's wrong with you because you're thinking
Because they don't understand it.
right.
Exactly.
In their opinion, the best possible thing you could do is go get a day job and get 10 to 12 hours a week of overtime and put that overtime in a 0.5% savings account, I guess. And that's the best way. And I'm like, and hey man, I'm not saying that's wrong, but that is absolutely the hard way to do it and the slow way to do it. And depending on how much fiat currency devolves in value, it ultimately could really not be worth it. Right? If you think about it, your labor and your time are the most valuable things you have to trade for value. And as you get less time and you age and you are able to do less labor, you need that to come back to you more valuably. So the time you do put in and the labor you do put in, you have to basically sell or trade for higher value, and you got to know what you're doing. If nothing else, you got to take your actual assets and trade those for value or get value with those, such as interest, right? So, yeah, man, absolutely. Check this out.
You need to find stocks in great companies that are undervalued. And when I'm looking for undervalued stocks, I use Moomoo to do my research. Moomoo has an incredible stock screener. One of my favorite sections is the ability to filter stocks by technical indicators to find stocks that are breaking out from a technical standpoint. I can also use Moomoo's valuation metrics to find stocks that are undervalued fundamentally. And when I want to research a stock that I've found on the screener in more depth, all I have to do is click on it and get all of the fundamental information right at my fingertips. From there, I can add dozens of technical indicators to see what the largest shareholders are doing. And finally, if I the average analyst price target. But one of my favorite features of Moomoo is the company valuation tab. This allows me to see how the PE ratio and earnings growth of the company compare to industry peers, as well as how they've been doing over time.
And as you know, if you ever watch Stock Curry, a whole lot of his valuations and what he recommends, and a lot of that comes from the Warren Buffett School of Trading, has to do with the PE ratios and the forward PE ratios. That is a huge indicator for them and what they recommend. Know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. He's making a lot of money.
This one screen right here allows giving you 8 points in addition. And these are some of the top investment tips from Warren Buffett. Number 1, wait, then pounce. Buffett advises taking a deep breath and a step back when you find a company that you want to invest in. He suggests giving the stock market time to achieve a reasonable valuation and then move when the market corrects or sells off. Number 2, stay the course. Once you've waited, now it's time to move. Warren Buffett suggests that you want to resist panicking at this point and selling your holdings when they start to go down, because at some point, some of the stocks you buy will go down. But don't sell, actually buy more. Warren Buffett famously said,
"Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Let's go." Where do you hear that?
I don't know.
in a CNBC
Some rapper guy and a comedian on Mondays.
All the time.
To just keep buying. And third, pick businesses, not stocks. Always weigh and analyze the business behind the stock. Try to focus on the businesses that you understand and which you have some knowledge. And this will help you assess where the company is going, not just where it's been and where it is at present. You definitely want to understand the companies that you're investing in and not just buy because everybody else is buying or because some guru told you to buy it. An investor must determine a company's intrinsic value or actual company value by analyzing several business fundamentals, including earnings, revenues, and assets. Once Warren Buffett determines the company's intrinsic value as a whole, he compares it to the current market capitalization or stock price to determine its total worth or price in the stock market. What Warren Buffett is looking for are stocks that have a price lower than the company's valuation. The bottom line is that Warren Buffett's investing style is a lot like the shopping style of a bargain hunter. It reflects a practical, down-to-earth attitude. The value investing style is not without its critics, but the proof is in the pudding, regardless of whether you admire Warren Buffett or not. Now, personally, I have a little bit of a simpler approach since I don't have the ability to fly out and meet management teams like Warren Buffett does.
That would
I have
be nice.
to do all of my research
That would
on
be
the
very
computer.
nice.
So here's what I do.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question before.
First, I use Moomoo stocks.
I didn't. Hold on. I didn't realize we were gonna play this whole. Is there any
Like I
way
said,
to
it was
like?
a little bit longer, but I
do
just
the-
thought it was so important because he's breaking down how to
Well, let me
do
ask
it.
you a question. Can you speed it up? Because he kind of, you know what I'm saying? He kind of talks
Okay.
slow.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
we're
like,
almost
can we? Yeah.
This is actually the last part. It's how I achieved a 94% return in 1 year. This is really the
Sure.
part that
I want to see it. I
was-
just want to see it sped up if possible. Yeah. I'm just wondering, so that way we can get our own time
I
to.
use Moomoo Stock Screener to find a list of stocks that I might want to invest in. And if you want to pause the video here and record all of the different screeners that I put in, you can go ahead and do so. Essentially, I am eliminating penny stocks or OTC stocks. I also want to make sure that they have a decently sized market cap. I'm looking for PE ratios that are under 15. These are going to be stocks that are undervalued. I'm looking for a net income that's positive. I'm looking for an income growth or profit growth of more than 10%. I'm also looking for revenues to be positive, and I want revenue growth to be more than 10%. And I'm looking for a return on equity of more than 0%, a positive return on equity. In short, I'm looking for companies that are undervalued with good revenue growth and good profit growth, because these are the stocks that are most likely to increase in the future. From there, I start by looking at the forward PE ratio, and I always want this to be under 15, ideally under 10 if I can find one. I then compare the forward PE ratio to the trailing PE ratio, and I want the forward PE ratio to be lower than the trailing PE ratio because this indicates the analysts are expecting the stock to increase profits in the future. From there, I start digging into the financial statements. And one of the first things I look at is the revenue growth compared to the prior year. I want to make sure it's positive and growing.
We'll go ahead and stop right there. As you can see, guys, go to We Profit with Stock Curry and get more into it. I just really love this. This is the kind of thing, guys, where
No, it's great information.
if you would
I
never
just wanted that
come in
quicker.
before, no, absolutely. You could go to Robinhood, open an account today. You know what I mean? Follow him, follow the last 3 or 4 stocks he talked about, and just kind of follow this, and there's a very good chance you do okay. At the bare minimum, you do 10-20% return in the long haul. And I I really like that this really helps break down, and it kind of fleshed out. I was watching this like this is what we talk about. And I think the problem is I was too excited about it, but as it goes, it can get a little you know what I mean? But I was excited.
No, he just talks really slow. That's it.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
info. Just a little, yeah. Like, if he was at Rob's pace, it's a little different. But
Right.
yeah, no, good stuff, because this is what people need to understand. What do you mean when you buy a stock? What are you buying when you buy a stock? Why are you buying a stock? It's based on a company and what its performance is. Okay, its fundamentals, its money or lack thereof that they're making, right? And what are their projected, what's the projected revenue like? That's what people need to understand. So shout out to Stock Curry. Guy has great information. Awesome.
I love the Warren Buffett, buy the company, not the stock.
Yes.
That is so
Yes.
brilliant, and clearly it's a good idea too. And I think to myself, all of the silly like game stonks and stuff, where you were buying the stock, not the company, 'cause you knew there wasn't a lot of inherent value in the company. How'd that work out? You know what I mean?
Did you see the latest game stunk?
No.
Did you see it?
No.
Avis, CAR, ticker symbol, CAR. Short squeeze, gamma squeeze in the market. That stock went from like 30 or 40 bucks to like $800 and came crashing all the way down to like what is it, like 2 something? No, 4 something now? Something like that? I don't know. If CAR, ticker symbol. Yes.
Yeah, boom.
And
yeah. When was it at its high? Oh, this is one day. 5 days. And it's still all red. Let's see here. 1 month. Oh, see, for 1 month it was up. Let's see here. What was that for? Yeah, no, its high was $713. And then today it's at 200.
that's the GameStop of 2026. That's the GameStop of 2026. That's the AMC of 2026 right there. You missed it, but that's what happened this week. Avis. And from what I understand, is this, okay? And this has happened before. My dad's made money on this trade before. He told me that. I didn't know. So this stock, there aren't too many shares of. And the shares that are in existence are owned by just a few hedge funds. Maybe like even 2 or 3, from what I understand. Okay, if you look deeper, you can find it. So if most of the stock is held by just a few people, right? And all of a sudden, the short sellers that have been shorting the stock, that are betting against it, that are trying to drive the price down, they run into pressure, buying pressure, because now people want it for whatever reason. What happens is that stock starts rising, and now the shorts have to cover, or may need to cover as soon as possible before their losses start, accruing, right? So now what's happening is there's buying pressure because of Wall Street Bets. That's the new one. Wall Street Bets is in on this. This is what happened. So all this retail pressure came in. There's very few shares, small float. And so the price just keeps going up. Now all of a sudden the shorts got to cover. Now the price goes up even higher. And now what? People are buying call options. Call options that mean that they're thinking and predicting that the price is going to go higher. So now what happens? The market makers have to then purchase the underlying stock to cover them, because if somebody or all of these contracts are executed, they're going to have to fulfill the order, right? So what happens is not only a short squeeze, the shorts are getting squeezed, but the institutions, the market makers are buying at into what's called a gamma squeeze. Okay, the gamma is part of what options trading is. Okay, now that causes even more upward pressure. So now you got all this big money just chasing after whatever they can find just to cover their losses, and ultimately it comes to a point, just as it did around the $800 mark right there, and it just free falls from there. Bow.
Oh, yeah.
My pops was like, get in. I said, what do you think it's going to go to, 1,000? He said, oh, it's going to go up. I said, Dad, watch how badly this ends. Boom. I was spot on. I'm not going for that again, bruh. I'm sorry, but I held AMC. You're talking to somebody that owned AMC back in 2021 at $10.24. I saw it go to $72, and my dumbass, sorry, but I didn't sell. Okay, I didn't sell. I watched it go from $72 all the way down to 24, where I finally said, okay, I'm done. I still ran off with a profit from $10 to 24. But guess what? I would have been so much happier if I would have sold around the 70 or the 60 or the 50 or the 40 or the 30 level, right? You just keep watching it free fall because there's no value to the stock. There's no fundamental reason the stock just went up. The reason was because of short selling that just got a little out of hand and buying pressure because all these retail traders are now piling in thinking this is the new meme stock, and it was, baby. That's the AMC and the GameStop of 2026. Avis, CAR was the ticker symbol. Congratulations if you made a ton of money. I feel sorry for you if you lost your ass and your mortgage is now not now due because you can't pay that motherfucker. Enjoy working at McDonald's, buddy. No, I'm fucking with y'all.
It's
But
great.
no, it sucks. It
4
sucks.
days ago, literally 4 days ago,
Yes.
it was $700 in less than a week. It's now 203. Can you imagine
Let's
buying
go.
at 640 going, man, it's time to get money. It's going up. You buy it at 640, you're rolling, you know what I mean? You're going, this is good. You know what I mean? You buy it at 500, you roll all the way up to 7, and then it starts, you're like, hold on. Ah! I will say it's time to get out, though, because the thing is, if you look at it, right? If you bought it 30 days ago at $139, you saw it going up. You know what I mean? If you bought it, because right now it's at 204.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Right now it's at 204. If you bought it for less than 200, and specifically if you bought it for less than 150, you could get out now and still be okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You like if you bought it back when it was flat. Oh, you still in the profit, but you saw a bunch of profit just evaporate within days. Okay.
If I bought in
That's
at
the same thing I
200,
did.
Yep. If I bought in at 200, I'd have sold at 5. I'd have lost a couple hundred, but I'd have still sold right.
But you would have made so much money on that. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're still making 300 per share. So that's still good. But if you hold on here, you get greedy about right, at the point it drops back down to 5, and you're like, no, I'm diamond handsing it. Well, then you get what you get. And then you get what you deserve. As we say.
Well, the most hated man amongst retail traders, well, I'm not gonna say the most. There's others too, but Mr. Jim Cramer, right?
Yeah.
He says, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered.
Yeah, I know. And, that is true. But wolves always,
Yep.
Wolves always eat, right? So, but check this out. It's a little more in the Warren Buffett. He's talking about current stocks right now. Check this out.
Expensive valuation in history right now. The Buffett indicator is like plus 227% overbought. And
When you say something's overbought, what do you mean by that?
that means it's overbought. There's too much buying. In other words, it's going to sell off. Stuff is overvalued.
Oh, people are buying too much and they're not
Yeah.
selling enough.
This market just went up 13 straight days. 13 straight days on the NASDAQ.
So the holders are ruining everything.
No, they're not ruining anything. They're making money, but there's a problem if we see a steep sell-off and you're still holding. That's a
Do
problem.
you think that was part of the whole thing that everyone on the internet was like, it's going to be a Black Monday? Do you think that could be part of it? That they're just like, guys, sell some shit off.
I mean, I don't know how much because that's just retail investors. It's most of the money's with institutions. I mean,
Right.
I thought we'd have a steeper sell-off today because obviously there's no deal that's been done.
Yeah.
If ships are getting blasted, I don't know how much. It's going to be interesting to see how much the market moves now because Trump's like the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
He really is.
Woof. Woof.
Woof.
Well,
Boy who
The
cried
boy who
wolf.
cried wolf.
Wolf.
Woof.
So, did you see today? He said, we're almost with a deal. The deal's going to be the greatest deal in history.
Yeah, dude, last week he was like, they've agreed never to close the straits again in history. Like, for all time. Like, what?
And then
At this
2 hours
point, he's
later, it
just
was closed.
talking shit.
yes. And then he's like, aha, gotcha. Now we're closing them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were open and closed the same day, which caused the rally. Bro,
No, but-
why?
No, remember it was
Why?
Iran has shut these straits down, and we are going to destroy them and lay waste to all of them and their land if they don't open the straits. And then A couple hours later, they've agreed to open the straits. And then literally about 24 hours later, it was, now we're closing this. I'm like, this is the double reverse Uno switcheroo. This is what we're living in, double reverse Uno switcheroo in real time with real world consequences. What are you talking about? Anyway, I played that because Warren Buffett is saying that everything is kind of overbought right now. So expect to sell off. But people have been saying that. However, it's not really happening. And I'm wondering if it has to do with manufacturing and, spending still being strong, even though, of course, now we have inflation on our goods and our fuel costs. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know. I know some, retail spending is down. Oil prices are the same. Oil spend is the same. Gas spend is the same. Real estate is pretty much even. I'm trying to figure out, maybe we live in an economy that is now just so compartmentalized that things can happen over there that we're involved in, and it doesn't affect our day-to-day lives as much as it used. I don't know. I don't know why the market has, not really played out the way most folks would expect it to. So I'm brainstorming here, and I could be absolutely dead wrong. I don't even necessarily believe everything I'm saying. I'm just spitballing. You know what I mean? So I don't want people to go, wow, how could that be the case? I'm like, you're right. How could it? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, this market is like it's the equivalent of being in a relationship with a bipolar woman. Or if you're a woman, being in a relationship with a bipolar man. Whatever. It goes both ways, right? That's what I say. It sucks that the markets are now moved based on Trump and what he is and isn't doing. It's horrible. Okay. It used to be based on fundamentals, technicals. What are your profits? What are your losses? What's your projected revenue growth for the next quarter, the next year, the next 10 years? That's what markets moved on, right? It moved on geopolitical tensions, geopolitical issues. Now they're just moving on tensions. Okay. There's always going to be geopolitical issues, right? Reasons why the economy is good or bad. But at the same time, now everything moves based on a Trump tweet, and it sucks. It's taking years off of people's lives. It sucks to wake up in the morning knowing that you're only worth half of what you were yesterday sometimes. Bro, I'm up 40% in the market year to date right now, but I was also down 35% no, I'm sorry, 33% for the last several months, like in the same portfolio. That's ridiculous. What
does that tell you in the overall?
I don't know. This could still end bad for me if I don't sell at the right time or if I don't make the right move. That's why. It sucks. It sucks, but you still have to keep a positive attitude about things. Because if you don't, your life's gonna suck and you're gonna want to stay out of the markets and get out, and you're gonna think it's a scam. Just like what old boy Stock Curry was talking about, the Warren Buffett method. If you're looking to actually invest, it's very different from trading. Trading is wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, on to the next. That's literally what it is. You're speed dating. Okay, investing is not speed dating. Investing is, I think that this company is going to go from $10 to $100 within the next 5 years. So I'm betting my entire life savings on it. Nah, you don't want to do that. You only invest what you are willing to lose. Not willing or even just okay with losing, okay? If it happens, it happens. Nobody wants to lose $1, right? But in this market, when it comes to stocks, you have to be ready to take losses, or at least live with the fact that your portfolio's in the red and the money that you had one time is not the same value right now. But with the same token, that money could also grow, right? And that's why you're in it, because of the possibilities, because the possibilities are endless. Okay. So again, think about what you're getting into. If you like that company, you think it's going from 10 to 100, and you got $1,000. You want to turn that $1,000 into more than $1,000, right? You're investing. If you love that stock at $10, and now all of a sudden you're buying, okay, you bought and you put in 1,000, right? It rose. Oh, great! It went up $5. Now my $10 shares are now $15. But then the next morning I woke up, there was some bad news with the company. Because of that, some of their investors wanted to bail out. They pulled their money out. So now the value of the stock dropped. Okay, so now I was up 15 bucks, but now all of a sudden I'm down like $6 because now it went to $9 a share. That means that I just lost $1 each share that I hold, right? From my $10, from my $10 entry point. Why wouldn't I want to buy more? Now, if I think that stock is still going to go down a little further because of this bad news, I'm going to wait for it to go at a lower price. That way, I can deploy more capital. I can put more money into that stock. And what Stock Curry said, buy more.
And the key
Why do you
there,
want to buy more? Yeah, go ahead.
because you're evaluating the company, not the stock. Like you said, there is, and that's the tricky part. People got to, you know what I mean? As we're breaking it down, those, yes, goes down a little bit. Bitcoin is a great example, right? The overall SPY is a great example. That is going to go up and down some. I believe gold and silver over 20 years, they have not lost. I mean, they have lost in the short term, but over 20 years, absolutely they're up. And then you have your Avis, right? Where there's still money to be made. Even after it could drop, $500 depending on when you bought it. Or you could sell at the, $600 range, whatever the case may be. And I think that comes with the idea that, buy the company, not the stock. And the buy more if it's a valuable company and the stock is down.
Oh, and we got to give the disclaimer since we're talking about buying and selling. None of this is financial advice. Do we look like financial advisors? If you think we are, you're mother effing wrong. Okay, we're just two talented mother effers, like it says on Mike's hat. That's it. So we're not telling you to buy. We're not telling you to sell. This is just what we're talking about as far as what we're doing and what we feel. Okay, it's commentary. So yeah, because we don't want you to win. I mean, I'm sorry. We don't want you to lose your butt on things like Avis in a short squeeze and then come running back saying, "Hey, Mike and T-qron were talking about it." Nah, bro. Nah,
Yeah, no, as I've said many times, all my advice is bad advice designed to cost you money. And if you do make any money off any of the advice I say, you have to give me half of all of it. It's just the rule.
See, now, I just hope that he has a good enough lawyer in court. Keep saying that.
Well, I mean, if you want to sue me for making lots of money by taking my advice that is designed to cost you money, and if you take my advice and you invest and you make money, that's a complete accident. And it's designed to cost you money. So if you take my advice and you don't lose money and it doesn't cost you money, but it makes you money and you want to sue me for that, go ahead.
You see all the mental gymnastics he just put you through?
Exactly. Go ahead. Let's go.
Oh, man.
All right, man. So I did the thing talking about the president and those moves on purpose to dovetail into our guy, Rob, here, right? Because some people don't even know. I guess it just wasn't a huge news thing. I don't know. But Trump froze crypto assets over $300 million worth this week. First time the government, I think, has done anything really like this in a way. So we're going to check this out.
I'll tell you why. It's because a lot of people are just not into stable coins like that. It's not mainstream like that right now. That's just what it is. That's why that's why you haven't seen much.
Well, this is, we're going to get into this just a second.
That's the question. Like, hey, would you be okay with this if this was your life savings? And for most people, they really didn't answer. But some people said, yeah, if it's mine, definitely freeze it. Only a couple of people actually said, I don't care if I lose my entire life savings. Go ahead and let that all go. I wonder if that would actually happen if push comes to shove. Regardless, here's the message from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. U.S. sanctions wallets tied to Iran, freezing $344 million in crypto, Bessent states. And he also stated, we will follow the money that Tehran is desperately attempting to move outside the country and target all financial lifelines tied to the regime. This is in a statement. We'll take a look at that in a second. But we had actually covered this a couple of weeks ago or so in the Strait of Hormuz, where these tankers were, first they were able to pay in yuan, in the Chinese currency. Then they were able to pay in tether. And everybody thought that was cool. And then they were given the option of Bitcoin, which I thought, okay, if you don't want to get sanctioned, Bitcoin is your go-to thing because you can't freeze Bitcoin. If it is in an exchange, you can freeze that exchange and screw everything up. But as far as like a cold storage device, you can't freeze Bitcoin. Let me say that again. If you have a cold storage device that is you have it and your private keys, you cannot freeze Bitcoin. Everything else, it seems like we can freeze it. We talked about the Kelp DAO hack, where it was essentially all on Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. That was frozen. Tether, frozen. Circle, frozen. And a whole plethora of different chains have been frozen in time. So when we talk about this, I thought for sure they would just go to Bitcoin, but of course they're like, nah, we don't want to back this by the US dollar, which I thought was very odd that Iran wants to use the funds that were backed by the US dollar, even though they're fighting the American regime. Anyhow, that's pretty much what we have. Very interesting. And then it comes down to this. And I wonder about the people who are in the Middle East, like a friend of the show, Guy from Coin Bureau, and he's over there in the UAE. And, you know, his wallets might touch other wallets that have, you know, been some way, shape, or form linked to Iran. And what Scott says here is going to make you think about, wow, that could be some type of poisoning of other wallets. Just take a listen to what he says as far as freezing of other wallets.
And who are now willing to be much more transparent in terms of the funds, or do a deeper dive in investigating the funds that are held within their banking systems. So we have pushed out to them the request that we want to freeze more funds of the leadership of the IRGC and any members of Iranian leadership. The other thing that we have done is we have told countries that if you are buying Iranian oil, that if Iranian money is sitting in your banks, we are now willing to apply secondary sanctions, which is a very stern measure. And the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
So that is a little bit of a little silent speak of saying, like, look, if any of these wallets touch anything with Iran, we're going to freeze it. Sorry. And I've learned my lesson from the Patriot Act back after 9/11, and everybody was rushing to get everything under control, and we wanted surveillance, and we wanted to make sure it didn't happen, and we let these things happen, and we shouldn't have, and that allowed for American citizens to be under surveillance for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
All right, so I played that, so we got a little bit of an update. It was important to cover that just to let people know. Once again, Bitcoin by far is the least subservient to government and, you know, that kind of thing. And also, if you have any dealings with any crypto or any stock that is related to something in the Middle East, you might want to look into that. You might want to just look into the connections there, what it touches, you know, who's co-invested with you, because yeah, you might want to look into that. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully none of our viewers are connected with anything negative like that. But if you
no, it's not necessarily negative. There are complete, like where I'm at, oil is huge. There are a lot of people from the UAE and Saudi and places like that that are here because they're on the oil trade, and they live here and they do business here and they trade oil here, and it's not all that uncommon, and it's all legal, and there's no bad companies. It's just that, you know, in the same way that, you know, you're where you're at, but there might be a company that does business with the bank you use, right, out of California, has a branch in California, and that, you know what I mean? They have an account with that, but somehow they come after your money, right? That's what people want to look into, because if you share a bank, that bank takes your money and the other person's money and invests it in something, right? Well, all of a sudden now you're a co-investor with what's considered to be a criminal organization and blah, blah, blah. So before the government gets to it, you might want to get to your own cash, right? Speaking of getting to your own stuff, this is cool, man. This is an update on AI and how it affects crypto markets and everyday job markets and trading in stocks. I thought this was really cool and interesting. Check this out.
Anthony Pompliano. as he says the same thing. I changed my mind on how AI will impact jobs. Previously, I believed AI would replace everything. The data is saying something different. The number of software engineers being hired has been increasing. Number of open software engineers roles is growing. Number of new college grads who got hired has increased 5.6% over the last 12 months. Unemployment level of people aged 20 to 24 has decreased from nearly 9% to almost 5% as well. And there's also another study which takes a look at radiologists, how they actually had like fallen off the wayside as people didn't want to go into radiology. And now there is a boom because more people are using these MRIs, these x-rays and things like that. And they say, well, AI can do a pretty good job. We need finalization of radiologists. So it's like one of these things where like, wow, I didn't see that actually coming. And then to get to the whole crypto crux, this is Mark Andreessen Horowitz. I believe he was one of the creators of Netscape and one of the first browsers, and he's an angel investor, and he's been pretty involved in like some early type of things going forward, Coinbase and such. Just take a listen to what he says here about AI and crypto. And it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, no, now I think it's going to happen for sure. Yeah, and there's two reasons it's going to happen for sure. One is we actually have internet native money now in the form of stable coins and crypto. And this is, I think this is the grand unification basically of AI and crypto is what's about to happen now. I think AI is the crypto killer app, I think is where this is really going to come out. And then the other is I think it's now obvious. It's like, obviously AI agents are going to need money. And it's already happening, right? If you've got a claw and you want it to buy things for you, you have to give it money in some form.
I would say the adoption is probably like 0.1%, if that. But yeah.
Oh, today, yeah. But think forward. Like, where is it going?
Forward thinking.
The ultimate principle of everything and everything that I think we do is the William Gibson quote, which is the future is already here. It just isn't distributed. It isn't distributed yet. My friends who are the most aggressive users of OpenClaw just have given their claws bank accounts. Credit cards, and not only that, it's obvious that they needed to do it because it's obvious that they needed to be able to spend money on their.
Yeah. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. I mean, it made sense of what he said, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard to give AI agents credit cards, debit cards, and other new transactions and things like that. I mean, you can do this, and this is where it all came from. He talks about later on killer app, using different stable coins. And for me, when I take a look at stable coins, to me, it's always the same thing. Just take a look at the best, the ones that the rails run on, Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. If you can actually squeeze in Bitcoin and Lightning Network, so much the better. But I got to tell you, for like transactional costs for fractions of a penny, pennies, nickels, whatever else it is for API integrations, why would you use the old system? It doesn't make any sense. And that, I think, is where things are going. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And I will just say, before we get into the Q&A, this is my quick journey with AI. I actually did a little vibe code action and built a website from scratch, which I don't do anything with code or anything like that, for a animal shelter that I work with in Puerto Rico called Amigos de los Animales. And
all right, so just wanted to allow Rob to get that little love in for his nonprofit. As you know, our nonprofit work is very valuable and important to us. He did one for the animals there, but he used AI. But the most important takeaway from that is how people's outlook on AI is changing, and how while AI will replace some jobs, you still need people to work the AI. And as AI is becoming more important, you got to have people who know how to use it, how to fix it, how to fine tune it, how to read the results of the higher level information. So I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
So in other words, you're going to make people go to school to learn software.
I mean, they do already, right?
In order to, or not everybody, not the average
not everybody,
Joe.
But I mean,
what I'm saying is, if you don't have an education in those fields that they're looking for to employ you in, you're screwed. So yeah. Better get into a trade, or you better start learning how to train AI, because you're going to start suffering. From what I understand, a lot of people already lost their jobs because of it. Some people are about to. In fact, this is a question I asked just yesterday on my Facebook page. I said, be honest, do you think AI is going to replace your job? I got a number of comments from different people. A lot of people actually are very confident, saying that they don't think it's going to, in whatever field they are. You know what I'm saying? So
sure.
Props to you.
I think the obvious, right? So, like, for instance, a lot of those like line jobs, and a lot of them have already been replaced. Like your factory line worker jobs. A lot of those jobs are going to be replaced because they can't. A lot of building your cars, You know what I mean? Putting one screw into one thing, you screw it in. I'll get a machine to do that. Sure. I think a lot of tellers, as we're already seeing. You know what I mean? They even have full-on restaurant vending machines in Japan now, where you put the money in and you get like a hot bowl of ramen, right? Like literally. So I think you're going to see some of that. Gas stations. I don't know how long you're going to have a dude at a gas station, because why, right? Especially with as dangerous as they are now. Imagine you walk into a gas station. It's got tons of AI and cameras around. If you try to steal something, the door's locked, and you're just stuck in there till the police come, right?
And then RoboCop just kills you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's an AI. I mean, it's a robot. Like, he's just going to pull out a gun and shoot you. And that's it.
Yeah, but as far as like your high-level medical and stuff, I know, you know, if I'm going to see a doctor and they're like, yeah, we're going to have this AI scan you, and then you can read an email, versus we'll have these computers scan you, which they do now, CT scans and all of that. But you're going to talk to a human who will interpret what this computer says to you, right? And then communicate with other doctors and maybe help come up with a plan that'll fix your knee or whatever the case may be, right? So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it's good if it doesn't take your job. I don't want humans to lose to robots, ultimately. But at the same time, I invest in companies that create AI, and so, you know, I know the direction the world's heading in, so I'm going to make money from it. But do I like it? Well, not necessarily. AI is great for a lot of things, but it's bad for a lot of people. So,
Yeah, you know, sure. But I mean, think about it like, you know, I always compare things. We forget about typewriters, right? And we just kind of absorbed. You know what I mean? Typewriters went away. That was a multi-million-dollar industry at one time. And you know how many jobs the typewriter industry employed? From people making the typewriters to the repair shops that had to repair them, to the ribbon of typewriter, to whiteout, which used to be a thing because people needed to fix what they type. That was a whole multi-million-dollar industry that is kind of gone. You know what I mean?
but also, you never feared a typewriter turning on you and killing you.
Well, I mean, the AI on my computer won't. If it's an actual robot human, yes. But the
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Same thing with the newspaper industry. Think about it. The newspaper industry. What I'm saying is the economy absorbs and the economy adjusts and adapts, right? Think about fast food restaurants. They were like, fast food restaurants are going to kill grocery stores. Fast food restaurants are going to kill sit-down
They
dining.
were wrong.
Exactly.
They were wrong. It killed people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
AI, same thing. It's not going to necessarily kill the industries. It's going to make a change. Okay, for instance, looking at an AI poster versus looking at a poster that somebody took their time and hand designed, right? AI is a McDonald's version of it. And everybody loves McDonald's right now. But there's going to be a point where they realize it's just a cheap fake and there's not real art to it. We're already kind of seeing that, right? So, once again, I don't know if it'll kill the industry so much as it'll kill the people that depend on those industries, right? But that's a whole other thing. But I absolutely see kind of a different idea and a different thought in the same way typewriters, horse and buggy to car, you know what I mean? Steam engine to electric engine, all of that, you know, and adaptation, for instance, the electric car. Been around now for 20 years. People don't realize that. Everybody said when the first electric car came out, in 20 years, there'll be no more gas stations. There's still more gas cars than electric cars. The general public just hasn't adapted to it yet. Don't really want it. However, laptops, boom, all over. Cell phones, it depends on what we adapt. It really does. I think. So.
But they're pushing people into adapting it more and more now at a rapid pace, now more than ever. How, you ask? Well, $6 a gallon for gasoline, $7 a gallon for gasoline, $8 a gallon for gasoline, maybe 10 one day. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean that's where you're at. You gotta move out of where you're at, man. You got.
I'm just saying, it's not just where I'm at, bro. We're 50 states in the country. It's higher in other places. So the point is, they're driving these prices up.
Places, man.
I get
Gas
it.
here
But
is
what
like
I'm saying
$3.
is the higher it goes, even in the places that are lower, it's higher than what it was. You get what I'm saying?
The
So
most
you drive
expensive
the
it ever.
cost up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Most expensive it ever was here was under Biden. It was almost $5 a gallon. It was
That's a
4.90.
lot for where you're at.
It
Yeah.
was. It was. You know what I mean? Now
So what's
it's
it
in
at
the
now?
threes. What's this?
Oh wow, threes?
Gas average.
Because it's $5.99 right across the way from downtown. Let's just put it that way. I was literally right by the high school the other day, my old high school, McKinley High School. $5.99 a gallon at the McKinley car wash.
$3.27 per gallon.
That's fire.
High
That's fire.
$3.20, low per gallon.
You guys are lucky.
Average. So yeah,
Very lucky.
320 to 327 is kind of our state average right now.
So you guys are paying basically half of what the West Coast is paying, or at least California and Hawaii. And
California, California is more expensive than anywhere else because they have a special gas. They literally, you want to talk about corruption at its finest. There is a special gas you can only buy in California, and you're only allowed to use, like in California, you can only buy this special gas, and it costs way more because it has to go through 2 different refineries, only available in California. So all the gas they ship into every other state basically goes through like that state's regulation refinery and then goes out. California has 2 additional refineries, adding all of that cost to the gas. And that's why it's the most expensive. But it's also why it's the number 1 lead state in America right now. More people are leaving California than any other state in the nation. And it's why California has 14 to 16% of the nation's population, 40 to 50% of the nation's homeless population. Because when you do stuff like that, you have 2 options. Either the people who can afford to leave, and everybody else just, you know what I mean, gives up and falls into poverty. So horrible. You got to fight for us middle class folks. That's what we do here. Take every dollar you have and be the best you can with it and make the wisest decisions with it. You know what I mean? Speaking of making those wise decisions, man, because as we're going a little long, we're going to hit our guy here. We're coming up on our last couple of quick clips for the day, y'all. Let's check this one out.
If you raise an eagle around chickens, at some point, he going to start thinking he can cluck. He going to forget he can soar. He going to forget he the baddest bird in the land. And he going to look at the other eagles and be like, hey, what them is? And the other chickens going to say, why you looking up there? You just a chicken. If you look at your environment, it's a good chance you're going to become, if you put a fish in the tank, it's only going to grow as big as the tank. And so I'm going to just say this to everybody here. You got to get past your financial trauma. Here's what I'm about to tell you why. Because you trying to build wealth, but you won't hold on to the same scars. You won't build wealth. You won't be a millionaire, but you won't hold on to what it felt like to have insufficient funds in your account. You won't change your family's legacy, but you won't hold on what it felt like to live check to check. You don't want to feel that no more, and that's why you won't make a million. But as long as you hold on to that thought, as long as you hold on to that idea, as long as you hold on to that image, you holding your bank account hostage. Because you can't be free if you're still holding on to the prison. Woo!
Boom! You can't be free if you are still holding on to the prison. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Yes, sir. Amen. 100%. Get past that. We all have losses. We've all taken the L. It's all good. Keep moving.
And I really appreciate you use the term financial trauma, right? Because we've all been through financial trauma. Our lives have been traumatized due to lack of finance. I mean, I know I have, and I know you have at times. We have been in places where we have to put ourselves in crisis or been in crisis style situations that traumatized us due to lack of funds not working.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. In fact, I'm thinking about some of it right now and I don't want to think about it.
Well, just think about how much better off you are and how blessed you are and how far you've come. That's the key, man. You know, I think that's why we're blessed with memories, is so we don't repeat the same mistakes, and we're truly thankful. As all spiritual and psychological texts tell you, an attitude and a mentality of gratitude and thankfulness for where you at and how far you've come and what you're doing better today because of the knowledge and the scars is why you're able to let the past influence go because you have a solid memory of that. You're like, I don't live like that no more. You know, that's something I've seen you do legitimately too. Quick side note, not necessarily in finances, but when the opportunity to fall back into old and negative patterns and habits that may have held you back and held you down, you did not. You stayed disciplined. You let go of that past trauma and its effect on you. And you kept those past memories and knew what it would be to fall into that. And you went the other way with it. You took the hard choice, not the easy choice.
Speaking of some of that past trauma, I got something to share with you about a very prominent figure here. Anyways, yeah.
I mean, we're gonna hit it on this, and then we'll catch up. Guys, last one for the day. Thank you so much. Shout out chat. You guys have been amazing. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We love you, and we
want to see your comments. Don't be shy. Don't just sit there and watch. Be a part of the conversation. Talk to Mike. Ask him what the FW and the FW Mike stands for. Ask T-qron why do you have a dash between the T and the Q, and what the hell is the Ron part? Get interactive.
And where's the U? Where's the U?
There's no U. There's just me.
Remember, no. You put the U in T-qron.
Not messing with
you. You put the U in T-qron. Let's go.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Boom. See, I gotta get Mike to come up with my little catchphrases and stuff. Ooh. What's our famous catchphrase though? What's the famous one around here?
Get off
people. The point of yes. And
on the walls.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. The reason we do this is for the people like Mike and I to understand where you came from and where you used to make money may not be the best thing to do anymore. Okay.
Correct.
Not saying that I did anything crazy for money. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, okay? I don't gotta say it. Get off of y'all street, or rather, stop hustling on y'all street and start hustling on Wall Street. That's what's up. I need a shirt. We need a shirt. I'm gonna do it.
We gotta get it done.
We're gonna have some merch. Yes,
absolutely.
We're gonna put that in the yep. And if anybody tries to steal that, anyways.
Well, and it goes kind of like what dude was saying before. An eagle hanging around chicken's gonna think they're a chicken. A fish goes to the size of its tank. If all you're focused on is y'all street, then you're not doing the higher things. You know, you have an opportunity to put your money in the same place that the richest, most successful people who have ever lived put their money. The only difference is your brain telling you not. That's it. I can come up with 100 reasons not to do better for myself. You know, and mean, none of them equal to or outweigh the one reason to do better for myself, and that is to do better for myself. Let's go. Absolutely. All right, let's.
They say scared money. They say scared money don't make no money.
If you raise
amen. Scared money do not make no money. Absolutely. So this is about breadwinners can't crash out. Let's talk about the responsibilities. Let's check this.
You the breadwinner of your family, you got to be able to control your anger. One of the most important lessons I read from the Art of War says this: a lack of control over one of your family, you got to be able to control your anger. One of the most important lessons I read from the Art of War says this: a lack of control over one's temper. A general who cannot master their emotions, giving into their impulses and rage, will inevitably fall into the enemy's trap. Enemies will provoke such a leader, set numerous snares, and their uncontrolled anger will blind them with these dangers. When you the breadwinner, fam, everything resting on your shoulders. Crashing out can't be an option. This is why it's important for us to have wise counsel. Now, I'm talking to my street niggas. I'm talking to my ones on the block every day who say you hustling to provide for your family. I'm talking to the ones who saying, I'm out here in these streets and these streets is all I know. I ain't going to work no 9 to 5. I ain't going to work for nobody else. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that. Now, I ain't trying to tell you don't got to be in the street. What I am telling you is just understand you're a general. Just understand that a lot is on your shoulders. Just understand that when you get trapped up, just understand when you go to prison, just understand when you go to jail, just understand when you get killed, everything falls. Big homie rules, man.
All right, that was pretty deep, man. What did you think about that?
he was basically falls in line with what I was just saying, right? To the people that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Everything, yeah. I like Wall Street Trapper. I'm still never gonna get over that one flip though.
Buy a trap house,
Oh,
okay? I
man.
don't know. And then convert it into a coffee
Don't do
shop
what
that-
he just said. Don't do what he just said.
I do like.
Oh yeah,
I do,
convert
yeah,
the thing.
yeah. I do like what I do like what he said there
Oh,
though, man. In that, yeah, man, there are a lot of people out there on the hustle. It's not necessarily just on a street corner, but they are in some kind of
no, yeah.
hustle. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
not completely legal. There's a very big gray market no one ever talks about to the benefit of the gray market. But it's not the black market. It's not straight. You know what I mean? But it's gray. It's not quite. And people get caught up in that. And there is a way, once again, to stop hustling on Y'all Street and start
And
hustling.
start hustling on Wall Street.
Let's
Sure.
go. Let's go. All right, T-qron, tell the people where we're way over. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can find you, so we can get out of here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just hit me on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, newly revamped T-qron.com. Why I want to keep saying the dash. I want to make sure the dash is in that URL, T-qron.com. Just like you see on my shirt, you will be able to visit that for anything that I'm doing coming up. As a matter of fact, I got May 31st, Las Vegas. I'll be releasing a single. So if you're out that way, make sure to come through. It's at Cork and Thorn. Shout out to my guy, Paulie Mack. I'm now a member of the Rhyme Syndicate, famous hip hop crew founded in the 90s by Ice-T. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Syndicate family members. They are going to have me featured on their new chamber music album coming up. So stay tuned for information on that. Yeah, man, just holla at me. I'm very interactive with my people. I love to help my people. Yeah, where can they find you, Mike?
Oh, man, you know PT Pod, where we're at. PT Pod Show, Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, IG, Seahawk Comedy and PT Pod Show. We got a ton of clips that just dropped on the Rumble. I think they're on the YouTube too. If not, they will be by the end of the day. So check those out. Like Thursday, Friday, they just dropped. So lots of new stuff, lots of good stuff. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We mean it. Be a visionary. Oh, and guys, as you know, if you're live right now, you can go to Rumble. You can subscribe. You can sign up to the channel. You can get exclusive drops. T-qron is about to hit the mainland, do some amazing things. I'm about to hit the West Coast myself. We're going to connect. We're going to do some awesome stuff. Very, very important. If you want to know, you want exclusive things. There's actually a big show going on in San Diego in June. That's going to be huge. We're going to have, there's going to be bands out there, giveaways, all kinds of things. Already got the VIP tent sponsored with some homies. So we're going to be talking more about that soon. Guys, stay tuned once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you. We mean it. The Visionary value. Yeah.